Good morning. Welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City's morning docket. Today's Thursday, February 6, 2020. This morning, the board will hear regular items, new, transfer, expansion, and hardship applications and requests. If you have, when your case is called, please stand up to the microphone and state your name. If you're going to be giving testimony, please be prepared to be sworn in by our court reporter. I'd ask if you have a phone or other electronic device to silence it or put it on vibrate now. Mr. Chairman, may I start with two preliminary matters?
Please.
Case number one, FF1 Liquor License LLC, 921 East Fort Avenue. This case has been postponed and will be reset on a future date. D&D Arque LLC, trading as the Twins, 4020 East Lombard Street. This matter has been postponed and will be reset on a future date. Calling the first case, Ryan Kehoe, Light Randall Corporation, trading as Riverside Tap House, 1542 Light Street. There's an application to transfer ownership of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service.
If
Counsel.
the commission, please, Frank Solis representing the applicant,
Good morning.
and this is Ryan Kehoe.
Mr. Kehoe, would you raise your right hand, please?
Yes, sir.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, please, this is a transfer from a secured creditor. Mr. Kehoe is the sole applicant. He's 100% owner of the establishment. Mr. Kehoe is a 6-year veteran of the United States Navy. He has been manager of a social pub and a place on Federal Hill across street for the past 7 years. He's alcohol certified.
Okay.
I believe, I'm sorry, we have also met with the Community Association, and I believe they have forwarded a letter of approval.
Do we have that? Which community association is it, Mr. Shaw?
Which one was it?
South Baltimore.
South Baltimore?
Yes, sir.
We have not received it yet. We haven't received any opposition either, so.
I've got it in my, I could show
Do you?
you. Yeah, sure. It came in, yeah, yesterday. Yes, sir.
Think I can read this? No, I'm kidding. I mean, it's pretty small print, but okay. It is a letter from Matt Unglesby,
President, yes, sir.
President of the South Baltimore Neighborhood Association. They support the transfer of ownership to Mr. Kehoe. Believe that they have a positive relationship between the organization and the community. Okay. Will you get a copy of this to us?
Yes,
so that
sir.
we can put it in the record? Thanks. So, Mr. Kehoe, you've been working somewhere else as a manager for 7 years?
Yes, sir. Social Pub at 25 East Cross Street.
Okay, and were you managing a number of people there
Yes, sir.
with respect to the alcohol distribution?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so you're familiar with our rules and regulations?
Yes, sir.
And did you have any problems at that location? with the-
I've taken we had a fire marshal hit years ago. That's about it.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
None. No questions.
Okay, thank you.
I believe wasn't there a serving a minor? I don't think you.
One of our girls did get caught serving a minor, yes. Sorry. But
How long ago was that?
probably about 2 years.
Okay.
On Wednesday night, right around March Madness, so, yeah.
So you're aware of the need to be very careful about IDs
Yes, sir.
and instill that in your staff. I'm sure you're careful, but
Tips
yeah,
training.
I'm sure you have people come and go all the time working for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application and the proffer from counsel, as well as the testimony received, and taking into consideration what we saw electronically as a letter of support from the South Baltimore Community Association, I would vote to approve the application to transfer the BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license with live entertainment and outdoor table service.
I concur with the chair. I, too, would vote to approve the transfer with the continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service. Keep working with the communities.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
No exhibits?
Yes, sir.
Calling the next case, AAA Limited, trading as Triangle Liquors and Packaged Goods, 2101 Homewood Avenue. It's a request for hardship extension under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Article 122202.
Good morning, Board. My name is Rufus Ayeni.
Good morning, Mr. Ianni.
Good morning.
Is this gentleman coming up with you as well?
Sure.
I was waiting for him so we can swear you both in.
Okay, thank you.
Gentlemen, will you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
So, Mr. Ianni, you wrote a letter to us back in January asking for, because of ongoing construction work and financial hardships, requesting more time, a 90-day extension. Is that what you're asking
Yes,
for?
Commissioner.
Okay, and this is so that you can get the place in a position to open or to transfer?
To reopen, we were on track, had a couple of robberies, so that was a setback.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
All right. Thank you. On the basis then of the written request dated January 26, 2000, actually it was a year ago, or you put the wrong date. It says 19 on here. We all do that in January, I understand. As well as the testimony this morning, I would vote to approve the 90-day extension, hardship extension for this license.
It's 100,
Par-
I think it's 180.
There's a 100, there's a
Oh,
request for
3
100,
months, so I thought,
sorry, yeah, it's 180-day.
okay. All right, approve or grant 180-day extension.
Right. Thank you, Board.
They have to,
Oh, sorry.
I'll make it quick. I concur with the chair. It was.
I'm the slowest, but I do concur as well and grant the 180-day.
yeah, good luck,
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Commissioner. Thank you, Board.
And
No
just,
exhibits.
just to, as a note, Mr. Ianni, this address, 2101 Homewood Avenue, you received notice from the Housing Department to ensure that you come into conformity with the new zoning laws, rules and regulations for a Class A liquor license in a residential neighborhood. Okay?
Okay.
If you don't understand any of that, make sure you speak with Mr. Akers.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand.
Okay. Well, we can speak afterwards.
Okay.
All right, if you just want to take a seat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Calling next case, Davis Management LLC, trading as Flight 5721 through 23 York Road. There's a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. A request for transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B.
Are you Mr. Davis, sir?
Hi, Mr. Davis. Good morning.
Good morning. Would you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
So, Ms. Davis, you wrote to the board back in January as well, asking for a hardship extension, factors beyond your control for transfer of the license. Is that
Yes.
so? What's going on?
So we filed for transfer, and there were many factors from the bank due to the loan of the transfer of ownership of the building as well. We had 3 environmental studies that took way longer than expected. The 3 in total, the first was supposed to take 10 days, it took 2 months. The second was supposed to take 2 weeks, it took 3 months. And the third one actually took about the same amount of time, about 3 months. So due to that ongoing process from the deed, we can't get the UNO to finish the process here because the transfer is not done yet.
Okay. And do you have an anticipated date by which it will be completed?
We spoke with the owners, the current owner of the building's representation. They said they should have everything squared away on their end in the next 30 days to hopefully finish up this process.
Okay. So is this another 180-day request, Mr.
90.
This is 90, additional 90 days to
Okay.
complete the transfer.
Okay. Is that your understanding as well?
Yes, I thought it was 180, but they told me I had to put 90 when I was
Okay.
at the liquor board office.
Commissioners, questions?
None?
No questions.
All right, thank you, Ms. Davis. On the basis of your written request to the board dated January 9 and your testimony this morning, I would vote to grant a 90-day hardship extension.
I also approve the request for a transfer hardship extension.
I grant the 90-day hardship extension.
Good luck.
Thank you.
No exhibits.
Calling next case, ESG Holdings Incorporated, trading as Ghani's Wine and Spirits, 601 North Carey Street. It is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Request for transfer hardship extension under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B.
Counsel.
Thank you. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of applicant.
Good morning. And would you raise your right hand, ma'am, please?
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Are you Ms. Gill?
Yes, sir.
Good morning. So, Mr. Fogelman, you wrote to the board on January 10th, saying it's a time-consuming process and you need a 90-day extension.
Yes, I'm happy to report we'll need far less than 90 days, so we'll take what we can get. Ms. Gill is hoping to pick up the license today. She's at the end of the line here. We literally just, because of a bulk transfer permit confusion or an issue, it took a few extra weeks to get that into the Liquor Board's file, but I was informed that it was received yesterday, or it had been received by the Liquor Board.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
None?
No questions.
All right, thank you then. Mr. Fogelman, on the basis of your letter to the board dated January 10, 2020, your proffer this morning and any testimony, I'd vote to grant a 90-day hardship extension.
I also approve the request for the 90-day transfer extension.
I grant the 90-day transfer hardship extension.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a nice afternoon.
No exhibits?
Thank you.
Is that the morning docket, Mr. Akros?
Mr. Chairman, it is.
The fun is this
The
afternoon.
rocket docket? Okay. We'll recess till 1.
Board is in recess until 1 p.m.
Thank you. Larry, take a long lunch.
Ready?
Yes, let's proceed.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City's afternoon docket. The board will be hearing violations this afternoon. When your case is called, please step forward, state your name into the microphone, and if you're going to be providing testimony, please be prepared to be sworn in. At this time, I would ask if you have a phone or other electronic device that you please place it on silent or vibrate mode. Calling the first case. Eva Group LLC, trading as Pratt Liquors and Bar, 1812 West Pratt Street. It's a violation of Rule 3.12, General Welfare, November 25th, 2019. A violation of Rule 4.16, Illegal Conduct, November 25th, 2019. A violation of Rule 3.12, General Welfare, December 26, 2019. Violation of Rule 4.16, Illegal Conduct, December 26, 2019. Violation of Rule 3.12, General Welfare, January 22nd, 2020. And a violation of Rule 4.16, Illegal Conduct, January 22nd, 2020.
For the record, Melvin J. Kanensky representing the licensees.
Good afternoon. Would all those who are going to testify raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Admissions or denial, Mr.
Be
Knudsen?
denial, and I have a motion to sequester witnesses.
Okay. Let's see who we're going to start with. So, is that going to apply to both sides?
Well, they're both this one gentleman's not a witness.
Who's going to testify here?
These are the licensees, so they're entitled to be here.
Well, okay, I don't know who they are. Can you identify them for the record?
And
I'm Rupa Karki. I'm the owner.
PJ Runabout.
What is your last name?
Okay, I am the husband of Sujata Runabout.
Well, I have a Robert Tompori on the license.
city resident.
Okay, and a Rupar Karki.
Karki.
I don't have this other name.
We can have them all out there, except for the licensee.
Okay, so who's going to be presenting testimony to begin with here? Who's going to be up first?
It would be, I think it's Shriven.
Okay, everybody else, step outside, please. We'll call you.
You can go out.
Officer, you're free to use this microphone.
Okay, so would you identify yourself for the record, please?
Officer John Shreven,
How do you spell your name?
SCHREVEN.
Shreven, okay. I thought you were saying Streven, that's why I wasn't sure. So let's begin with November 25, 2019. What can you tell us about the events?
On that day, at approximately 12:42 hours, our response to 1812 West Pratt For a report of a shooting, upon my arrival, when I got there, I located a number 1 male, shot in the head, shot multiple times in the back room of the establishment, the liquor store at 1812 West Pratt. I recovered a Springfield Armory XD9 pistol, 9mm pistol, off his waistband as EMS was rendering aid. I submitted that to ECU, Evidence Control Unit, and the victim was taken away by the medical examiner, I believe. He was declared dead on scene by paramedics.
And were there criminal charges brought?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Anything else? Are you the only one going to testify on this incident?
I believe so, sir.
Okay. Mr. Kadansky?
Yeah, was any other licensees involved in the shooting?
Not to my knowledge.
All right, did you witness the shooting?
No.
Were you able to review the footage, film footage?
I was not.
Do you know that the footage was provided to the police department?
It was provided to homicide detectives on scene. They were very cooperative. I, however, was just not a part of that.
All right, so basically, when you came there, you don't know when the actual shooting took place.
I believe that a shot spotter alert had come out, so I believe we did know the specific time of the shooting, but I could be wrong on that.
Well, the shooting was inside, is that correct?
Correct. It was right out. Someone had came in the side door. I wasn't sure if I wasn't sure if the microphones had picked it up outside or not, because it was right by the side door of the establishment.
Wait, but who did you get a call from? That's what do you know who called you to go there?
I don't recall.
And when you got there, the licensees, everybody there was cooperative with you?
Yes, sir.
And then they provided the video footage of what happened?
Yes, sir.
When you said you believe somebody came from a side door, that's from the video you looked at?
No, sir. It was from the shell casings placement and what witnesses had said on scene.
All right, with that, you're familiar with the location, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that location is the front part basically is a liquor store?
Yes, sir.
And then you come through a door, and that's what the bar area is called, for want of a better word?
Yes, sir.
And that's where the person was shot in the bar area?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And as far as you know, has anybody been charged? If you know, if you don't know.
Yeah, I do not know, sir.
Because I see the crime lab came and they photographed the firearm they found the firearm on the deceased person.
Yes, sir. I found the firearm along with EMS.
All right. Do you know the name of the person who was shot?
I believe it was Brian Moore.
Mm-hmm. I have no further questions.
Okay. Did you want to present testimony on?
Not now. I'd rather do it all at one time if I could.
Okay. So shall we proceed to December 26th? Is that yours as well?
Not, sir.
Can you ask whoever's going to testify on that to come in? You may remain after that, though.
I can go out and do it. Officer Moulton, is it Moulton? Are they doing them one at a time?
Please come forward, sir, and state your name.
Officer Butler, Kevin Butler.
Butler?
Yes, sir.
Okay, officer. So we're talking about the events that occurred at 1812 West Pratt Street on December 26th. Can you tell us what happened?
We had a call for a shot spotter alert on 1812 West Pratt. I arrive on scene, see the victim laying on the ground, back on the ground, head facing up.
I'm sorry, but where was the victim?
In front of the store.
In front of the store, okay.
Right outside the door. I check around the corner to see if I see anybody running or moving. It was about 3 people inside. I asked one if they seen anything that happened. They just said they seen a gentleman start shooting, and then that was it. That's pretty much the gist of it.
Did you recover any evidence?
It was shell casings. It was about 4 shell casings. And then they just recovered whatever that he had on his person, which I think was an ID. I think he had like a couple dollars on him or something like that.
What became of the victim?
I'm sorry?
What became of the victim?
He was deceased.
He was transported
He
away?
was transported to shock trauma, and that's when they pronounced him deceased.
Okay. And do you know if any criminal charges were brought?
Not against the victim.
Or anybody else?
We have footage of the suspect who did the actual shooting from 1812 West Pratt, the liquor store, there by their surveillance cameras. We got footage of him, a clear shot of his face, and I just forwarded the information to my sergeant, and they forwarded it up. So I didn't hear anything else from that.
Okay. Anything further?
No, sir.
All right, also, basically what you said, you got clear footage of those, let's call him the shooter. Outside, you got that from the establishment, from their video?
Yes, sir.
And they supplied that so you could do your investigation, is that correct?
Yes, I asked him to review the footage. I see the suspect, which was the suspected shooter,
Mhm.
and I got a clear picture of his face.
Did you actually see him when he fired the shots?
He was outside of the
And-
building, yes.
And he was behind the individual?
No, he was on the side. So if you walk out of the front door, he stepped to the side of the door.
Mm-hmm.
The victim backed up out the door, walking backwards outside of the door, and the suspect shot the victim by
All right.
raising his hand, right hand.
And then the shooter, from one of better, he left the scene?
Yes,
Were the licensees with you cooperating, providing you the footage?
yes.
And along with that, none of the licensees were involved in this, is that correct?
No, they were not there at the time.
Okay, and none of the employees, to your knowledge, were involved in the shooting, is that correct?
No, sir.
And other than the footage that you viewed, were you able to view anything else that would have indicated who the shooter was?
From what I've seen, no, I just seen the shooter leave out of the establishment, stand to the left side of the door, and pull the trigger.
But did you have any other video you reviewed other than their video, the video of the licensee? Did you have any video on the pole or anywhere you could view? Or the only video you saw was
The only
theirs,
video I seen was inside of the surveillance of the store and on the
Which-
outside of the store.
which they provided for you?
Yes.
All right? And you had indicated, as far as you know, nobody was charged and haven't been charged yet, as far as you know. Is that correct?
Correct.
When the two individuals that you saw come out, who came out first, the shooter or the victim?
The shooter.
And when he came out the door, did he walk away from the door and the other one came out?
He came out of the door. He stepped to the left of the door,
Mm-hmm.
waited for the victim to back out of the door, and that's when he shot the weapon.
Okay, did you know if the victim actually saw him?
The victim did not see him. He looked straight. He was talking to someone inside of the establishment.
So when he was backing out, he was talking to someone in the establishment. The shooter had come out and then shot him outside.
Yes.
Were there any weapons found on the victim?
No.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Officer, is there anyone else going to testify on this issue?
Yes, Officer Molin.
Would you ask him to come in, please?
Yes, sir.
Make sure that they get the officer. He's got to double up efforts.
Please come forward, officer, to the microphone and state your name. It will bend in.
Sure. Hello, my name is Officer Molden.
How do you spell it? M-O-L-D-E-N?
Yes.
Okay. Officer, we are addressing the matter of December 26th at 1812 West Pratt Street. What can you tell us about that incident?
I spoke to the victim, I want to say maybe an hour beforehand. We had a call for a disorderly, well, I think it was an ag assault. He supposedly hit a young lady with a trash can. But we didn't really get too much out of
I'm
him.
sorry, I missed that. the victim called you because he hit somebody with a trash can?
No, the victim was a young lady. She called because apparently he hit her with a trash can.
He.
Our victim that ended up dying at 1812 West Pratt.
Okay. Okay.
So we had a encounter with this gentleman. Both of them were very emotional, so we couldn't really get too much from either one of them because it was a lot of he say, she say. So I wrote him a citizen contact, and we sent him on his way. And then I want to say an hour later, we get a call for 1812 West Pratt that there was a shooting. And when we got there, me and the primary officer recognized the victim, Mr. Smalls.
Taking you back to the first incident, where did this incident with the trash can occur?
This was, I want to say, the 300 block of South Gilmore.
So it wasn't anywhere near 1812 West Pratt Street?
No.
So why did you go, is that where you went then? To Gilmore or to Pratt on that first call?
The first call was on Gilmore. That's our first encounter with
So
the
you
victim.
didn't know it had any relationship to 1812 until you came on the second call about the shooting?
And then that's when we recognized the
recognized
victim.
him, okay.
Yes.
Anything else you want to tell us?
No, not really.
Mr. Kanansky?
How far away from when the first encounter from 300 Gilmore to 1812, how many blocks would that approximate?
It's a good 3-4 minute walk.
And were you able to visually see a trash can or anything, or was it just discussions the two people were having?
No, this was just a discussion that she was saying that he did, and he's saying that he didn't do it. So it was like a he say, she say.
No further questions.
All right, thank you, officer. Is there anyone else who's going to testify about December 26th?
Agent Chris Amalis, I'll go grab
Okay.
it.
Agent, would you identify yourself for the record, please? I was pointing at that mic, but you can use that mic.
Chief Chris Amalis, Baltimore City Liquor Board.
Okay. What can you tell us about the events of December 26th?
While on duty December 27, 2019, at approximately 21:55, I, Acting Chief Chris Amalis, while working with the Social Club Task Force, consisting of members of Housing Special Investigations, Fire Marshals, and BPD Vice, arrived at 1812 West Pratt Street in the city of Baltimore, known as Pratt Street Liquors. We have been sent to this location with the task force multiple times because of the increase in crime, both inside and outside of the location. This time we were there so I could retrieve video footage of a recent homicide that occurred right outside the door. During my investigation, I viewed the security tape of inside the store before the shooting occurred. A black male, approximately 6 foot tall, 260 pounds, wearing black and gray sweatpants and a blue jacket with a hoodie, entered the location. The suspect had a brief conversation with 2 black males and a black female. The suspect then walked up to a third black male wearing sweats and a black jacket with a hoodie. At the 58-second mark of my video, I asked the manager who the individual sitting on the stool was. His response was, "He is always in here," and we ask him to leave, but he never does. The suspect then makes hand-to-hand contact, taking something from the unidentified person sitting on the stool. At that time, the female that was at the location became angry and was yelling at the suspect. At one point, the victim pulled the female away. The suspect, after the transaction with the unidentified male, walked up to the cashier and purchased an item. Shortly after, he walked outside, and seconds later, one of the 2 black males, the victim, that had a brief conversation with, also exited the location. As soon as the victim walked outside, the suspect walked up to him at the 22nd of the second video, shooting the victim 1 time in the head. During our previous visits to this location, I emphasized the importance of not allowing individuals to hang out in the store when they are not purchasing items from the establishment. The BLLC has monitored this location many times and have observed individuals hanging inside and outside of the parking lot. During one investigation with Sergeant Leisher and Detective Gatto, while
I want to
observing...
object this to this because it has nothing to do with this incident.
No, I'm going to overrule because I think it's all related conduct.
During one investigation with Sergeant Leisher and Detective Gatto, while observing people in the parking lot hanging out and playing music, I called the establishment from my phone and asked the individual why they are not calling the police about the crowd forming on their lot. He advised me he would. A month or so prior to the first homicide that occurred inside the location, I told the manager that they will have a shooting very soon if they do not take operational control of their establishment. I did not see any change in my follow-up investigations leading to the 2 homicides.
Questions?
Let me ask you this question. Didn't they have a shed back there that he took down in the back?
They did.
Now, was it pursuant to request of the police department and yourselves, and the whole group, right?
It was in the request of the original padlock meeting.
Okay, and then they also, and request cordon off the parking lot so cars couldn't go in there?
They did request them to do that.
And then you went there the same time you saw that it was cordoned off?
When I went, it was not.
Did they also ask them to put additional lights up, and they put additional lights up?
I did.
And they also put additional cameras up?
I have not noticed additional cameras. I'm not saying they have not.
But
The parking lot was opened to vehicles as soon as last Friday that I did a drive-by. The parking lot was not closed off.
All right. You were able to view the video from where?
From their security camera.
And their security camera captured the fact that a fellow walked outside the door and the other guy shot him?
That's correct.
And that was seconds after he walked out the door?
That's correct.
Was any of the licensees involved in that?
In the actual shooting?
Yeah.
I hope not.
No, well, from you could see.
No.
Were the licensees cooperative in providing that material to you?
The licensees were out of the country. The manager was cooperative and provided that to
So
me.
when their employees got the information to you, is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you have copies of the footage?
I do.
And we have copies we're gonna be able to view and make sure that what we're showing is the same video that you have. Your videos you got from their video,
That's
correct?
correct.
Do you know who the person was who was the shooter?
I do not.
And you didn't see the shooter when you were there? You didn't see the victim or the shooter?
When I went to retrieve the tapes?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. And when did you go to retrieve the tape? How long after that?
December 27th is when I went, so I assume it was about a week after or 5 days after, right around that period.
None further question.
Just one clarification. So when you were viewing the tape and you stopped it to ask for identification, was the individual who is there frequently the shooter or the victim or someone else?
He was the individual that was sitting on the stool, which the suspect took something from his hand in a transaction. That's the individual that the manager said, he's always in here hanging out. We ask him to leave, but he doesn't listen.
Do we know who that is?
I do not know who that is.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners have any questions?
Just one. How many people were working that night or that day?
And you're asking him?
Anyone?
It's his
I mean,
case.
When I reviewed the tape, it was 2 individuals.
It's two.
No questions.
Anything else of the agent?
No.
All right, anybody else testifying on December 26th? Let's go to January 22.
Pardon me. Judge, I think Agent Chrysomalis had a video that he wanted to show.
Well, he's going to show.
They're going to show it,
Okay.
they say.
Okay.
You want me to stay here to see if it's the same video?
Yeah, sure. You can stay. I'm gonna have to do it this way, so
Well, you don't have to go out anyway. You've already testified.
folks at home can see too.
Can you get Detective Perry?
Please identify yourself for the record.
Detective Rico Perry.
Perry?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So we're discussing the events of January 22 at 1812 West Pratt Street. What can you tell us?
Yes, sir. Myself and my colleagues were doing a plainclothes patrol in the area of the 1800 block of West Pratt Street. And we came up to 1812 West Pratt Street, the Pratt Liquor and Bar, and there was an individual standing in the doorway with his right hand in his jacket pocket with a large, bulging L-shaped object. This individual observed us pull up. As he noticed we pulled up, he was standing in the threshold of the door, but he quickly went inside, went around the corner up to the bar in the store. I exited the vehicle. As I went up the steps to enter the store, I could hear like a large, heavy metal object hit the counter in there. And as I came around the corner, the individual was walking away from the counter, and area where he had just come from, there was a semi-automatic .380 caliber handgun laying on the counter.
And you recovered it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you arrest the individual?
Yes, sir. After located the weapon, I handcuffed and placed him under arrest, and then secured the weapon.
And he was charged?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you know what happened?
Not exactly. He's currently being held at Central Bookings.
Okay. Mr. Kaneski?
Now, you're indicating that, how many people were in your car?
At the time, 3, sir.
You mentioned you reported, I think, 4, but, okay, it was 3. And you were in a police car or unmarked car?
Unmarked vehicle.
And you were dressed like that?
Yes, sir.
And when you pulled up to 1812, he was not in the place, he was outside, is that correct?
He's in the threshold at the door, in the doorway.
Was he inside or was he on outside?
I'd say he was positioned inside. He's in that threshold, so he's inside the location.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
And both of his feet were up, is there a step that you have to walk up there?
Yes, sir.
So you're saying he was up the step and in the inside?
Yes, sir.
And then who was the first person to get out of the car?
Myself.
And then you said he walked in, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you saw him go to the right or the left?
To the right, sir.
And how many other people were in the place?
I don't remember exactly.
But there were other people in there.
Say, were there?
There were other.
Yeah, I think there was one gentleman at the window.
I mean, customers, were the other customers there?
Just the one individual that was at the window. I think he was being held by.
And you're saying there were no other people in there besides those 2?
Yes, sir.
And you didn't see him place the gun anywhere?
Did I physically see him? No, sir.
Okay. And when you came in, the gun was on a shelf in the area where the liquor store is that correct?
On the counter, yes, sir.
The counter has a glass and there's a little lip there, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that individual was not at where the gun was, is that correct?
No, sir.
Where was he?
He had walked away, and he stood in the middle of the store after coming from
Did
there.
you see him walking from that area?
Yes, sir.
And then when you came in, the other individual that was up making a purchase, he was actually closer to the gun, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And somewhere along the line, you went ahead and arrested this individual,
Yes, sir.
and you took the gun.
Yes, sir.
Did you take fingerprints?
All that is in the process of being completed.
Well, do you know, did they or did not take fingerprints?
We put in a request, but I can't tell you whether or not it's been completed yet.
Well, where's the gun now?
It's down at evidence control.
Did anybody check to see if the gun was registered?
Yes, that's completed during the submission process.
So was it or wasn't it registered?
I don't remember.
What other information you have about the gun and the possession of the individual? You didn't see him in possession of, you saw him, the gun on the ledge, is that correct?
Well, yes, sir. After we reviewed the video surveillance in the store, it did reveal that the individual that we arrested did walk over to that counter, and before he went over to the counter, there was no weapon on the counter, and as he walked away, the semi-automatic pistol that we recovered was on the counter.
So you were able to look and build your case from their video, is that correct?
Among some other things, yes, sir.
Well, the video would be very important because you have the actual visual of what he did, is that correct?
Yeah, but that was just in conclusion after what I observed and what I heard after I approached the individual.
You didn't observe him take the gun out of his pocket and put it on the shelf.
No, sir. I observed the...
Observing the video was what he did, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that video came from the licensee.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in regarding this case, Rodney Thompson, that was the name of the individual,
Yes, sir.
you stating that case has not come to court?
No, sir.
Is it in for a preliminary hearing?
Not yet, sir.
I'm looking at a court search and it indicates that on the 20th, there's a preliminary hearing. You don't know about that?
I haven't been notified yet. No, sir.
And you have been notified about fingerprints?
Not yet.
And you haven't been notified about the registration of the gun?
No, sir.
So you don't know if the gun was his or was stolen? Or
I
something?
do know that it was not stolen, but I couldn't tell you who registered.
Any DNA was taken?
I do have a DNA warrant that's actually in the works. It hasn't been executed yet.
But as far as you know, that hasn't been done.
Not yet. No, sir.
And when you were there, when you wanted to see the video, it was provided for by the licensee, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, do you have the link into their system?
I do not. No, sir.
Do you know that you do have a link provided to the police?
Yes, sir. My colleagues do have access to that.
So you know that they have provided that to the police as a visual?
Yes, sir.
I have no further questions.
Thank you. Detective, is anybody else going to testify on the 22nd? Okay. I think that's the case for the board then.
All right, well then, I think to make a motion for dismissal in this case for the following reasons. Number one, based on the best testimony that was given, your standard operating procedure indicates there must be a nexus between the licensee operation and what had happened. That's provided on page 145 and 146. In this case here, there's no nexus as to what the licensee was doing at the time of any of these events. If anything, they were spontaneous, and it appears that the first case, it was a hit that was orchestrated by the people who were waiting for him. And the question there is the illegal contact indicates that either the licensee commits or allows. There's nothing here to indicate they committed or allowed either one of these things to happen. And regarding the general welfare of the community, there's no community people here saying anything. If anything, they should be given a indication that they provided the video to enable for the police to go forward in this case. They had no participation in any of these instances, and in fact, went ahead and provided a video that was at least fruitful in the second case. The first one was a targeted hit that took a matter of seconds. When they reviewed the video, I'll get it for you, you're going to see it in a second. I don't know if you like watch people getting shot, but you'll see it. And there's no causal connection here between the licensees and what had happened in this case.
Okay. So do you want me to rule on your motion?
You can roll the motion on.
Okay, I deny the motion.
All right, well then, can you get the first video and explain what it is? This is the video of the first, is that correct? It's the one where the individuals came in from the back and they, you gotta turn it around so they can, everybody's gotta see it. I've seen it already. People at home will look at it too. Hit the plate. You can explain what they're saying.
You gotta turn it around so Commissioner
turn it-
Jones.
He has to identify himself for the record.
BJ Ranabat.
Can you spell your name for the reporter, please?
BIJYRANABHAT.
Okay, and sir, what are you showing us
It's the first incident that happened.
from November 25?
Yes.
Turn this over to the other
They
commissioner.
came from the side door.
The side door's connected to what?
To the parking lot.
parking lot because
Okay, so they're walking into your store,
Right, from
Into the
side.
bar portion of it.
into the bar portion, but they're in your establishment at this juncture,
Right,
okay?
because our guy was cleaning, taking out the trash, so he had the door open. And they took that as advantage and they just came right through the door.
Okay.
While he's looking, I saw it, I can proffer.
I'm sorry, what's he doing now?
He's looking for the,
The second incident?
No, I'm looking for the first incident where they walked in from the side, so you know where they're coming from.
I thought that you just showed us that.
yeah,
and then they're standing on the side. The doors from the outside is from the liquor store into the bar area. The fellow that's coming in, he's coming in and he's looking at his laptop. He takes like 2 steps and he looks up and they walk out, boom, 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 and they run out the back door.
Actually, this is where they come from
this is come from the alley.
the alley.
Okay.
And then they're gone at the back door. It happens in a matter of seconds.
And they just got inside the store in a couple of seconds. They were, I guess, following the guy. They know he was coming in.
Okay.
All right, let's get in the second one where the fellow was outside.
I asked the shooter, he just came out of the door. That's the victim.
So just as he walks out, the guy then
Right.
hits him on the outside. Okay, let's go to the last one.
I see him coming in right as the guy had the gun.
And right after the you guys notice it?
They all came from the same direction, alley. As they were following him or watching him.
You guys
So you don't have video inside the store, though?
We got it.
We got it from this.
That's the outside. That's four, I guess, 4 officers.
And there were other people in the store, correct?
There was 2 machine running in the laundry machine. It's on, so it's noise in there. There's a cashier in there. A customer. There comes the guy with the gun. He put the gun, he didn't like smash it, he just like put it down, so there's no way people can hear that from outside.
Yeah, even though I was inside.
How many other people were in the store besides him?
Cashier, customer,
One customer.
one customer.
Okay, so they're gonna arrest him. I don't think we need to see the rest of
Okay,
it.
no, I'm saying that, we're just taking out.
Okay, did you want to present other testimony?
So who was actually there that day?
We both
We
were
both were
there.
Okay. In fact, that's one of you trying to open the door for the officer, is that correct?
Right, that's it.
Okay, on it. No, I don't have any, I would sum up, basically, I have other material here, but depends on what you decide your finding is. I'm going back to my original discussion about, at least with regard to the legal conduct, it says that you shall commit or allow to be committed on your premises. Well, obviously, you see there, they didn't allow anything to be committed. It actually happened.
Well, they're on, let's just cut to the chase. So they're on notice from Agent Christomalis's testimony that they've got problems. And now we have 3 closely related in time, serious incidents occurring on or near their premises. So what are they doing to prevent it?
I mean, first of all, they didn't do anything to cause it. What they're doing to prevent it is more in mitigation later on, what they've done, what they met. And
I understood the mitigation, that they were very cooperative and they provided the video and it was helpful.
after that, they had 2 or 3 meetings with the police department. They met, they have security and all that. But first of all, there has to be a finding that they allowed a legal act to be committed. What Agent Christomalis was saying is that he told them they were allowing people to sit in the place. Well, there's nothing new at all. There's to say it's illegal for you to sit in a place. I mean, I don't know where that comes up. If this board says, if somebody, I go in there and
Tell me
just
this,
sit in there.
after the incident on November 25, when the man was killed, what did they do
What did they do?
to prevent it happening again? Because it happened again within a month, and it happened, then they had another serious incident within another month.
What they did, and I'll read for you what they did. They attended 2 meetings with the police department. Yeah,
When was that?
it's easier if I go through it, and I'm sorry. Either way, okay. They attended 2 meetings with the police department.
When?
One was in November, one was in January. They installed new lighting per the request of the police department. They installed new high-performance cameras and linked them.
When
to
did
the
they do these things?
They linked them to the citywide system, so the police could have access to the cameras.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cassie, but when?
They did it after they had cameras, but prior to the November meeting with the police department, and after that, they put in the new higher definition cameras. They removed the shed in the back of the building at the request of the police department. They blocked the entrance to the parking lot on the side of the building pursuant to the request of the police department. They agreed to have further meetings. They agreed to remove various impediments from the door to look in. One of the questions the police department said, there's a door going in from the liquor store into the bar, and there's a panel there, and I'll show you pictures of it. And they said, when you look, there's some decals and things that we can't see right in. So they removed that. They put up no loitering sign, and they agreed to provide additional security personnel, which they've hired. And in fact, a security officer is here that they hired.
When did they hire?
He's going to start today. They
So he
finally
hasn't started.
done.
He-
They,
Let me ask my question clearly. When did the outside security personnel start providing security
they're going to
services?
start tonight.
So they haven't yet?
No.
You answered my question.
In all honesty, though, it's not easy to get that. They were given information by, and Chief Inspector Chris Miles was very helpful. He gave 2 or 3 people. They met with me, with Sheriff Anderson, and asked if we could use some of their people, the off-duty people. He provided, Hank Martin provided some information. They made some discussions. They finally narrowed it down to the gentleman, where is he here? I'm sorry. He, and they hired him. He does, down at the Chop Tank and 2 or 3 other places. And he'll tell you what they're gonna provide in his background. The gentleman here is a former police officer, worked for, the police force, so he was there in the time. This gentleman here works for the city of Baltimore in the water department. And they've been licensees there since September of 2018 and have tried to do a lot of things. And I'm going to give you each a packet of things they did. And they have a log. The police come in and sign it. And if you look at it, you'll see how many times they come in and sign it.
Are you offering this?
Yes, I am.
You received.
It has times when they called the police department and they would say, there's a person here we think has a gun. You see the police department replies to them. They're gonna try to get there. There's a continuing logbook where they come in and you'll see at any given day, they come in 3-4 times a day, the police sign in. They've been proactive regarding the lighting. They've been proactive regarding taking down the shed in the back. You'll see where they took it down. They put new lighting. They provided as much information they could, put more no loitering signs up. Towards the very back there, page 27, you'll see where that door is clear now, where you can see into the, very clearly see into the bar area. The lighting you'll see that they put up on the outside all over the building, even in the stairwells, the attended community meetings. What they did do when we, the first meeting with the shed, they said to take the shed down. The next day, they start taking the shed down. Well, City of Baltimore said, hold it, you gotta get a permit for demolition, but they, to show you they were aggressive in what they were doing. to
Problem
get
with the
turn
shed?
the-
What was the problem with the shed?
Well, they thought people were congregating in the back there where the shed was, and, so they thought if the shed wasn't there and the parking lot was, blocked, that they would stop the people, from hanging around that particular area.
Anything further?
I have a lot of crime statistics I can give you about the city of Baltimore, but I think that's
I
public
think we
record
would
about
take notice that there's a lot of crime in Baltimore City.
10 dangerous most neighborhoods in Baltimore City. All the murders are committed, and Monday somebody was carjacked and they were killed. If it's any areas that are there, that may even happen in Patterson Park, and you can't close Patterson Park. I mean, it's one of those things, they do what they can. In this case here, I think it's noteworthy to them that they have video that's going to help take 1 or 2 dangerous people off the street. You don't have that in a lot of cases. And here they came, and I want to bring the fellow in from Ely. Let's hear from him while he's here. Can you go get him? I think it's a little disingenuous to appoint anything that happens in the area with a liquor establishment. And I'll tell you, as an aside, when they formed these statistics, there was a meeting had at the board yesterday, and they had these calls for service to 1846 West Pratt Street, 4,900 calls of service to Martini's. Martini's has been closed for a year and a half, and yet they attribute it to Martini's. They have Bay Island Seafood. They sell 2 cases of beer a week.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think what they're doing is,
Let's move along.
well, I mean, I think it's important they get their point across. Or step up here and give your name and address.
Hey, how you doing? Gentlemen, my name is William Colbus.
You were sworn already, right?
I'm sorry?
You were sworn?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm with Senior VP of Operations for Elite Police Protection. We're a private agency. We're a disabled veteran-owned company. The CEO is a Purple Heart recipient, and he's active federal agent. And our plans are to come in and help the liquor store clean up what's going on right on their property. We're going to start off with 4 days a week, Thursday through Sunday, 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. We will have a uniformed armed officer. Most of our officers are veterans, active police, or retired police. And the plan is to set precedents on the property to clear the area.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
Okay.
Going back to sum and substance, I don't know what the licensee could have done here, other than they did, and other than they were helpful in solving some crimes, and that's more than most places that take place. And so, somebody gets shot in front of the Royal Farm Store, Memorial Arena. I don't know how you can blame that. Those things happen there all the time. I think the nexus here isn't with anything they did. The nexus is that there's bad people in this city who target other people.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anything further, Mr. Konecki?
No.
All right. Thank you. On the base? Are we done?
One gentleman came down here, wants to speak. Yeah, do you want to state your name?
You have to be
address, for the record?
sworn, sir.
How you doing?
You have to be sworn, sir.
I'm sorry.
Can you raise your right hand?
Sure.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely.
Your name, sir?
My name is Keith Love.
Love, L-O-V-E?
Absolutely.
Mr. Love, what do you want to tell us?
Just want to tell you that I frequent this establishment all the time. It's really a nice place. They're very respectful people, and out of all the other places in the neighborhood, it's probably one of the better places to come to. I'm comfortable when I come there. I'm not afraid to come there like I am in some of the other establishments in the neighborhood, being harassed for change and being accosted. So, in a nutshell, you know, I think our neighborhood really needs this place. It's a really respectable place, and we like to keep it in the neighborhood.
How long have you lived in that neighborhood?
I've been living in the neighborhood for 6 years now.
And you've been going there ever since?
Absolutely.
Someone have any questions?
Pardon?
I don't want to ask him a question. Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Can I ask a question of licensees, not of the witness?
Well, do you have another witness, then we'll come,
Oh,
can we
yes,
come
sir.
back?
Sure, sure.
And I think that's it. You got to swear him in too, so I'm sorry.
I don't know why they weren't sworn at the beginning.
They were late.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
What's your name, sir?
My name's Anthony Cabness, C-A-V-I-N-E-S-S.
Okay. Do we have a question for Mr. Cabness?
So you were there, you're a customer of this location, is that correct?
Yes, I am,
And how long have you been going there?
since they opened.
Since this group opened or since the place opened?
Well, I've been there since the place opened.
So many years?
I've been here since they opened as well,
All right, and you frequent the place, is that correct?
just about every day.
And you think it's safe when you go in there and you're comfortable?
Yes, sir, no problems. Never had a problem.
And you live in the neighborhood?
32 years.
Were you there when Jimmy Walls had it?
Yes.
In Annie?
Yes.
Okay. Same location, same type of place, right?
Yes, it is.
Would have any questions?
No. The other individuals here, you proffer, are going to say the same thing?
Anybody else say anything different? Do you live in the neighborhood?
Yeah, 25 years.
Miss, how long have you lived in the neighborhood?
I've only lived in the neighborhood a few months, but I just wanted to speak from being a woman. Do I need to be sworn?
If you're going to testify, you have to be sworn.
Under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Come on, you can come in front of the microphone here, please. Give your name and address for the record and tell the board what you want to say.
So, my name is Kendra James. The address is 1701 West Pratt Street. Being a female, I have no issues going in and out of that store, and I make a decision to go in that store 12 or 1 o'clock at night. I don't feel that I would be attacked. I don't feel like the persons that own the store are not protecting me. I feel like they know. The regulars is more like a community store. Everybody knows everybody. If there's things going on around, most of the time we know what's going on. So I feel safe when I go in and out of there. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is. And I'm new to the area. I've been around through each and every one of the instances that the police have talked about, and yet and still I don't feel like I won't be protected or I wouldn't be safe as far as going in the bar just as any place else in Baltimore.
Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
All right, thank you. Anything further?
Just reiterate my prior arguments about nexus and causal connection and supervening and intervening causation.
Understood. And I continue to deny the motion. Ready to roll in the merits. So on the basis then of the materials contained in the charging documents, statements of counsel, exhibits received, all the testimony received, for the chairman at least, I would find violations of Rule 3.12 on November 25, 2019, Rule 4.16 on November 25, 2019, Rule 3.12 on December 26, 2019, Rule 4.16 on December 26, 2019, Rule 3.12 on January 22, 2020, and Rule 4.16 on January 22, 2020. I'd like to hear from my colleagues before we go forward on anything further.
I concur with the findings of my chair.
Yeah, no, I would find a violation of Rule 3.12 on November 25th, 2019. I'd also find a violation of Rule 4.16 on November 25th, 2019. Find a violation of Rule 3.12 on December 26, 2019. Find a violation of Rule 4.16 on December 26, 2019. as well a violation of Rule 3.12 on January 22nd, 2020, and I find a violation of Rule 4.16 on January 22, 2020.
Okay, so we have the violations in the record. We turn to the issue of sanction. So Mr. Konetsky makes a reasonable argument about the connection between these licensees and the events that occurred. The events that occurred are horrible. They're terrifying. I don't know why the community is not frightened by them. The licensees have only had the license for a little over a year. This is their third time before us. The others were on sales to minors. This conduct, I will give them credit. They have been helpful to the police in trying to solve these issues. They're working with the police apparently to try to resolve issues. I don't know if these issues are resolvable. If the people can walk in off the street anytime they want and shoot people in the establishment. We can't have that. We can't run those kinds of things in Baltimore City. So I'm not sure what my colleagues think is the appropriate sanction in this case. I'd be curious to hear from you.
Well, speaking from a 3.12 standpoint, you say the licensee shall, I mean, don't say put forth your best effort, you tried. They say you must provide a safe environment, and you haven't done that. I mean, the record shows that. It wasn't done, regardless of what your intent was.
Yeah, and with respect to the 4.16 rules, I'd also suggest that, that these licensees were placed on notice, and I think what troubles me, frankly, is that security hasn't actually been on the job yet until Friday, this coming Friday, as I understand the proffer. That's, to me, they were put on notice by the chief inspector and by the police department, certainly put on notice by these incidents, and the fact that we're now into February and there still isn't security in place is disappointing.
Okay. So I would impose, as to each of the violations, a fine of $500 for a total of $3,000. And I would suspend the license on this establishment for a period of 10 days.
I concur with the chair.
They have 30 days to pay the amount.
Well, I concur with the $500 fee for each violation and the 10-day suspension.
What if they decide to do an appeal, would it be a voluntary stay?
Yeah, I think we can do that. But I have to be candid. I mean, if this continues, we're going to have to revoke the license.
But I got to let them know that if they decide to have a voluntary stay, then otherwise you can't get it back if I'll be lucky and win.
I understand. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For the record, Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Officer Sherwin. Board Exhibit 2, Baltimore City Police Department report, Officer Butler. Exhibit number 3, Baltimore City Police Department report, Officer Molden. Exhibit number 4, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Perez. Exhibit number 5, investigation report, Acting Chief Inspector Chris Amalis. Licensee Exhibit 1, Licensee Action Plan, and Licensee Exhibit 2, Exhibit Package.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Is the suspension to begin immediately?
Yes. Unless he files his appeal.
Understand. Immediately. Okay.
What?
Well, if you file an appeal, it will be.
Is he talking to me? Is it gonna give him his speaking part?
Okay, let's move forward. I gotta get.
Well, next case. Titus Incorporated, trading as Paradise Liquor, 2223 Pennsylvania Avenue, violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors.
All those going to testify, please come forward. Who's here testifying for the
Titus
board?
Incorporated, trading as Paradise Liquors, 2223 Pennsylvania Avenue.
If there's nobody here on that, Where is everybody? Okay, let's everybody raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Are you Mr. Song, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're charged with a sale to minor on November 12, 2019. Do you wish to admit or deny it?
Yes, I did.
You admit it? Okay, you want to tell us anything about that event? Come up to the microphone, please, okay?
I went to hospital and then I wasn't feeling well, and then I didn't know that I didn't check the ID, and I sold it to one of the officer.
So you were the person who sold it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're saying it was a mistake on your part, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was he cooperative with you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Song, you've had this license a long time.
Yes, sir.
Are you well?
I went to hospital not too long ago after what happened, and then I'm getting better. Yes, sir.
Okay. Because you haven't been before the board since 2013. That's a 7-8 year period. And before that, there were some violations, but they're somewhat dated. I mean, and you've had the license for a long time. So I would, do the commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No.
On the basis of your admission and the materials contained in the charging document and the testimony we received, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on November 12, 2019. Based on your explanation and the record, I'd impose a $300 fine. I give you 30 days to pay it.
Based on your record, I concur with the chair.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A on November 12, 2019, and based on your record, I concur with the imposition of a $300 fine.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Agent Clark.
Next case, B&G Liquor Incorporated, trading as B&G Cut Rate, 1538 West Baltimore Street, violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors. Cadet Sneed, please step forward.
All those going to testify, please come forward and raise your right hand.
Under the penalty of perjury, that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do indeed.
What is your name, sir?
My name is John Park.
Mr. Park, you're charged with a sale to minor on December 19th. Do you admit or deny it? You admit it? Okay, you want to tell the board what happened?
Yeah, at that time, I was.
Can you speak into the microphone, please? We're on the record. So.
At that time, I was in a hurry to prepare, close the store, so I didn't pay too much attention. I should have done. It was my mistake.
Were you the person who made served it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so you were just careless about checking the ID at that time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was he cooperative with you?
Very much so, sir.
Okay. So you've had this license for 7 or 8 years. You've had other sales to minors. The last one was in 2017. This is actually your third sale to minors, so you have to be much more careful. I'd impose a $750 fine and give you 30 days to pay it, having found on the basis of your admission and the other materials a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on December 19, 2019.
I concur with the chair.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A and concur with the imposition of a $750 fine. So this is your third sales to minor, so I strongly encourage you to card everybody, because one more time may not end so well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore State Police Department report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Agent Chris Malice.
Calling the next case, Club Climax, 2432 West Baltimore Street. Violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors. Cadet Brown.
All those going to testify, please raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Yes.
Are you Ms. Butler, ma'am?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So you're charged with a sale to minor on December 19. Do you admit or deny it?
Admitted.
Okay. Do you want to tell the board what happened?
Okay, I'm not the actual server. This is my granddaughter and my manager there. I was there, though. All of us were present at the time. Yes, we admit that she served a minor. Am I allowed to make comments at this time, or you just want to?
No,
use
go ahead.
actual facts?
We want to hear from you.
We're all under so much stress. My husband, I lost him a few months prior to that. We have an excellent record. I've been in business for 50 years. You know, problems I've had a couple years ago, service to a minor, and
One violation in 50 years, ma'am.
Hmm?
You've had one violation in 50 years. That's all, just one. I'm congratulating you.
Well, thank you so much. And I got letters from the liquor board commending me on the type of establishment that we run. We're very particular about everything. That particular night, I'm not trying to make excuses. I just want to make some comments. My husband, we were married 59 years, 7 months, 3 days. He passed in July. Of course, the family, we were just sitting there being sad, and that happened to be our 60th anniversary. My husband wasn't there to, celebrate with us. And I talked to Cassandra later, and she was just a little bit sad, distracted. However, not an excuse because she served the minor. And that's about all, but the whole family, we're just in a kind of a mess now,
I appreciate your candor, and we give you our condolences about the loss. Were they cooperative with you?
I've worked in this district for a long time as a drug cop. This is an exceptional establishment. The people here are very cooperative. It is a violent area around them, but they are more of a rose in the middle of a lot of problems. So I have no complaints about this establishment.
Okay, commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis that the materials contained in the charging documents, testimony received in the admission, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on December 19, 2019, and I'm not going to impose a sanction.
Wonderful.
I
Thank you.
concur.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A and would agree, no imposition of a fine.
Thank you all
Good
so
work.
much.
Thank you.
I'm sure my employees appreciative because
Yeah, I'm very appreciative.
she has to pay fines. Any of our servers are responsible for paying their fines, so that's one
Thank
way
you.
that I
Just be
train them
careful.
to
I will.
them.
And
We don't want a second or a third in 50 years, right?
it won't be.
Thank you.
Can we
Good luck,
have your names to
Thank
the,
you so
I'm sorry,
much.
your names to the record, please?
Appreciate
Oh, my name is Cassandra King. And your name is?
Kimberly Bennett. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right, call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Agent Chris Malice.
We need that.
I heard you.
Calling next case, 3K Partners LLC, trading as Rosie's Sports Bar, 482 South Bentaloo Street. Violation of 4.01A, sales to minors.
Well, those are going to testify. Raise your right hands, please.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I
do.
Are you Ms. Williams, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, you're charged with a sale to minor on December 19. Do you admit or deny?
Admit.
Okay, you want to tell us what happened that evening?
Well, I had just left maybe about 10 or 15 minutes before the guys came in. My bartender had served the young lady. I wasn't there, but she had been upset when she got in. What happened was one of her co-workers, and he would come in, and matter of fact, he had been there a day before, got killed in the service station right there, Westside Shopping Center, minutes before she got to this job, her first job at university. And then she came, but she was upset. She wasn't focused. And I understood that because it hurt me because I had just seen him the day before. And the man was sitting in his car, and this other guy came up on the parking lot after another guy shot. This man was sitting in the car waiting for his friend to get gas so they could go pick up some furniture. And this man gets shot in his head. And she was just, and I think not being focused because she knew better. Because I always tell them, make sure, and I have little things, a card to show you the dates and things of if you have to be 21 or older. She wasn't focused, and that's what happened.
Okay, and were they cooperative with you? Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No.
No questions.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. On the basis that the materials contained in the charging documents, testimony received in your admission, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on December 19, 2019. You've had the license about 6 months, and this is your first violation, and I appreciate your candid explanation. I'd impose a $250 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
Thank you.
I concur.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A on December 19th and concur with the imposition of a $250 fine.
Good luck. Thank you.
Like exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Goddard. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Agent Chris Malice.
Call the next case, Sai Baba Liquors Incorporated, trading as Harford Road Liquors, 4627 Harford Road. There's a violation of 4.01A, sales to minors.
All those going to testify, please raise your right hand.
Swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Sir, step up and tell us your name, please.
My name is Sunil Sarma.
Okay, Mr., I'm sorry, I'm saying it right, Sarma?
Last name Sarma, first name Sunil.
Okay. You're charged with a sale to minor on December 10. Do you admit or deny it?
I admit it.
Okay. Do you want to tell the board what happened on that evening?
Actually, that day is like 11:52 p.m. at night, and I also tried to close my store before the 12, and that's the same time as my son and my son's friend was there. They are making the website for my store, Harford Road Liquors, and they asking me some question in between. Is one person is come there and he got it one like juice or soda, or other is the Palmocen bottle, and he looked like is like 25, 26. So that's the reason my 50% mind set up with my sons, because he asking me some question, and 50%.
I understand.
So I did not ask him ID because he looked like he's 25, 26, and that is my first time. I'm really sorry. I'm not do that next time.
Was he cooperative?
Yes, it was.
Okay, thank you, Agent. All right, Commissioners have any questions?
No.
No questions.
All right, sir, on the basis then of your testimony and your admission, the materials contained in the charging documents, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on December 10, 2019. You've only had the license a few months, and you give a plausible explanation, but you need to ID everybody and never
I'm
take
really
this chance.
sorry. Me and my wife is always do these things.
Okay, I'm going to pose a $250 fine and give you 30 days to pay it. Don't do it again.
Yes. Thank you.
Other gentlemen?
I concur. Fine.
Find a violation of Rule 4.01A on December 10th and concur with the imposition of a $250 fine.
Good luck. Thank you.
Like exhibits for the
I was
record.
yes on that.
Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective LeBron. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Agent Perez.
Mr. Acrosati, docket.
Mr. Chair, that concludes the board's afternoon docket.
Thank you. We'll be adjourned until next time.
Board is in recess until February 13th at 11 a.m.
All right, see you guys.